Now at 9, the decision to censor a Carthage City Council member is delayed. What happens next? Plus, researchers may have unlocked a new way to detect Alzheimer's disease before symptoms show. And the Kansas City fans froze to death in the backyard of a Kansas City home earlier this month.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Police in Neosho, Missouri are searching for a suspect in a shooting. It happened around 7:30 yesterday at the 800 block of Riverside Drive. When officers arrived, they were told a man, 40-year-old Freddie Rodriguez of Neosho, was found in the street with gunshot wounds in his left arm and armpit. He was then located at the hospital in stable condition. Authorities say the suspected shooter is 21-year-old Jose Rivera, also from Neosho. They say Rivera and Rodriguez know each other, and Rivera ran after the shooting. A warrant has been issued for Rivera's arrest. A Baxter Springs, Kansas man will spend 50 years behind bars for child sex crimes. A judge today sentenced 40-year-old Jeremy Shrout to 50 years in prison. In November, Shrout was convicted of 3 counts of rape and 1 count of aggravated indecent liberties with a child. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at your forecast.
Well, another gloomy one for us today. I feel like we haven't seen the sun in so long, but of course, the rain, the showers, the drizzle, the fog outside, but at least temperatures are above freezing. 45, so right at our average high for us today. And as we look outside, we've got pretty dense fog across the region. So if you're going to be out tonight, be careful. It's patchy, but it is pretty thick. Temperatures upper 30s to lower 40s. We are tracking the fairly thick fog right now. You can see a lot of areas of visibility under half a mile, under a quarter of a mile. Those visibilities are going to drop as we go through the overnight hours. Dense fog advisory is in effect. We also have some showers starting to pop up in our western counties, and this is going to increase also as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. So we're going to discuss it all and look at our next storm system into the weekend here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Carthage City Council members are planning to discuss the proposed resolution to censure one of its members in their next meeting on February 13th. The decision to delay the discussion was made at last night's meeting. Now, the council member at the center of the discussion is Tiffany Cossey. KOAM's Fernanda Silva was at that meeting.
The council meeting to decide whether Tiffany Cossey would be censured was a busy one, with all seats taken. In the agenda, the discussion about Cossey was scheduled to be a closed session. Cossey and some residents argued that the council should have the discussion on the resolution open to the public, but it was kept as a closed session.
This is illegal under the laws of Missouri.
Our legal opinion disagrees with that.
In an interview before the meeting, City Administrator Greg Degnan explained his perspective on the reason behind the decision.
There are city employees involved and there was an HR investigation, and so that is protected. However, because she is not an employee of the city, because she is an elected official, any censure or discipline for any council member always has to be done in a public setting.
For Cossey, the decision to go to a closed session is questionable.
I'm pretty sure that that is illegal. So because there is an employee involved, it may fall into a gray area. But when a council person, I am not an employee, and when a council person is being censured, that type of thing is supposed to be open to the public.
Just after 10 p.m., once the closed session was over, council members voted to table the censure until next meeting.
Ample time to prepare that response. I've only had about 31 hours notice to prepare for this type of thing. And in there I had to find time to sleep and go to work 2 times. So I've had almost no time to prepare, and I feel that it would have been unfair for them to have continued with the resolution tonight.
Before the meeting, Cossey explained her perspective on why the resolution is being proposed.
A lot of the complaints were that I invited citizens to come to meetings, that I thanked them for coming, I thanked them for participating. A couple of times in the list of complaints was that I advised people to call City Hall or call their council person.
There's a HR complaint or human resources complaint that led to a very large investigation that is causing it. I really can't share that because it is protected by our HR policies, but that is what initiated this
According to Dagnan, a censure is an opinion of the council that they disagree with the councilperson's action, but that doesn't remove the member from the council. We tried reaching out to all the council members and the mayor before and after the meeting, but only 2 answered their phones and said that they had no comments. KOAM spoke to some Carthage residents to hear their thoughts after the meeting.
I thought that it should be an open meeting. I thought that they should be able to talk about it, and they chose not to. I think there again, we don't have clarity, we don't have honesty, we don't know what was said, so usually if you don't know, your mind goes to it probably wasn't good.
I feel like the citizens stood up for what's right. They're demanding transparency and ethics to our city council. We support the First Amendment. We feel like our voice has been silenced so much, and this is just the latest step in silencing the voices of the citizens and people working for the citizens to ensure transparency.
In Carthage, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
And you can read the full story with more detail at KOAMnewsnow.com. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly today announced the recipients of the latest round of grants from the Historic Economic Asset Lifeline, or HEAL program. The program helps revitalize downtown buildings. 5 Southeast Kansas organizations received funds. Nearly $51,000 are going to Chanute Regional Development Authority. The cities of Columbus and Parsons get $100,000 each. Girard Main Street is getting $10,000, and the Independence Chamber of Commerce gets $100,000. A Miami nonprofit is asking for the community's help. The Community Crisis Center helps those who have been affected by domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking. Their resources include a 24-bed shelter in Miami. The center is asking for the community's help with their growing need for women's undergarments, including socks, bras, and underwear in all sizes.
When clients come and stay with us, they typically are not able to bring anything with them, so they're starting from scratch, and we provide all of their linen, clothing, toiletries. So it's just a really big need that we have right now. We're needing to restock our clothing closet.
Any donations can be dropped off at the Community Crisis Center Advocacy Building in Miami. The public today got to know some Joplin businesses better. The Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce held its 31st annual Business Expo. It started yesterday evening with a businesses after hours event for local entrepreneurs to network. And then this morning, business owners had a chance to check out all the booths set up. The public was allowed to explore the expo starting at noon, learning about all the area has to offer.
We continue to see growth. We continue to sell out every year for the Business Expo, and we see new businesses. We're always seeing new businesses participate in Expo, but we also have our regulars that come back every year, which we appreciate.
This is the 31st year of the Business Expo, and coming up, how you can keep you and your family safe from carbon monoxide poisoning as we run those heaters this winter. The Affordable Care Act breaks a record for the number of people enrolling in 2024. The Biden administration says 21.3 million people have signed up for health insurance through the healthcare.gov marketplace. That's 5 million more signups than last year, marking a 3rd straight year for record enrollment. A new study from the American Cancer Society shows cervical cancer diagnoses for women in their 30s and early 40s have consistently risen by 2% each year since 2012. The report does not reveal why cervical cancer is becoming more common again. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say more than half of women diagnosed with cervical cancer have never been screened before. Experts say the best way to prevent cervical cancer is to keep up with routine exams. Researchers may have unlocked a new way to detect Alzheimer's disease before symptoms show. A new study from the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA Neurology, suggests testing someone's blood for key proteins could result in an early detection of Alzheimer's. The buildup of the proteins are often detected in those with the disease by a brain scan or spinal tap. But results from the journal study show the proteins could be detected much earlier. Researchers say the new development would lead to better assessment of cognitive decline, patient management, and modifying therapies. Well, as the bitter cold of winter rages on, so do many of our heating units. But while we're trying to stay warm, health experts say these chilly months can increase the risk of carbon monoxide poisonings. Fox News' Kevin Uretsky takes a closer look at how you can help prevent injury and even death.
Known as the silent killer, carbon monoxide is the #1 accidental poisoning problem in the nation and the world, sending more than 100,000 Americans to the emergency room and killing at least 420 every year. That according to the CDC.
The gas is odorless, it's tasteless, and we have to rely on carbon monoxide detectors to pick that up.
Carbon monoxide can be found in the vapor produced by furnaces, gas stoves, vehicles, portable generators, and more.
It happens to be formed anytime there's a combustible reaction that's involving carbon material. If that happens to occur in an unvented area, it can lead to an increase in the amount of carbon monoxide.
Poisoning risks increase throughout the winter as home heaters and fireplaces run for longer, and while windows are closed to keep in the heat.
It can lead to a multitude of problems, including someone having a headache. It can make them feel like they're going to pass out, and if they're exposed long enough, it can affect their heart so much that their heart stops beating.
Besides making sure your home is armed with carbon monoxide detectors, health experts say it's critical you have a professional check your heating systems, as well as gas, oil, and coal-burning devices every year. The CDC also recommends never having a car or generator run inside a closed garage or less than 20 feet away from an open window.
So the treatment of carbon monoxide poisoning is oxygen. And so someone will be started on 100% oxygen. And what we're trying to do there is displace the carbon monoxide that is in the body and let the body get rid of it.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later how a Parsons Pet Hospital is handling being at max capacity.
Well, of course, another gloomy evening outside. Temperatures have been at least above freezing, but we've had the fog across the area. It's been patchy, but the areas that kind of get into that fog, it's pretty thick. It's picked up or at least lifted a little bit across the metro. Miami, about 3.7 miles, 4 miles. CJ, 3.3 in Neosho, 3.2 in Carthage. But if you get down toward Table Rock, quarter of a mile or less, and most of southeastern Kansas, at least under a half a mile. And these are going to drop as we go through the overnight hours. I think by morning, most of us will be quarter of a mile or less. A very dense fog through the morning hours, and then it will slowly dissipate late morning into the early afternoon. So dense fog advisory in effect, everybody, through the overnight hours. We are tracking some showers out across our western counties, but these are going to pick up a bit. Later on tonight, we have a little wave that's heading in. It's going to give us a little round of showers. So this is pushing north. They'll kind of develop across eastern parts of Oklahoma and then start to push in. So once we get past midnight, showers will start to increase. Here's 3 o'clock in the morning, increasing a little bit more, especially along the state line of Kansas and also Missouri down through Oklahoma. And then we'll have this batch work through during the morning hours, mainly on the Missouri side, and then start to lift out of here once we get into late morning. The rainfall's going to be fairly light. So rainfall tonight, 1/10, maybe 2/10 of an inch, a little bit heavier in spots once you get into southwestern Missouri, but most of Kansas and Oklahoma under 1/10 of an inch of rain. But hey, we'll take what we can get. Temperatures also, we're sitting above freezing, so we don't have to worry about any ice, which is good. Let's go outside. It's foggy. 7th and Rangeline holding at 41. Our temperatures really aren't going to drop much more than that as we go through the overnight hours. All right, so here's our weak little wave. Next storm system will start to affect us. That is out on the Pacific Northwest by the time we head toward the weekend. All right, noon hour tomorrow, lower 40s. I think we'll warm near 50. Mostly cloudy skies tomorrow afternoon. Fog builds back in tomorrow night. We hold near 40. Then as we get into Friday, cloudy skies, warm into lower 50s. But look at the rain, starts to increase by the time we head into Friday night and into Saturday morning. Showers across the region. And if enough colder air can filter in, we may get a little period of light snow kind of mixing in, but it wouldn't be a huge deal because our temperatures would be above freezing, but something we'll keep our eyes on by the time we head into Saturday and at least get closer to Saturday. 50 tomorrow, 56 Friday. 42 and dropping on Saturday. We do finally see the sun again on Sunday, a little bit cooler, and then a good chunk most of next week really looks pretty nice. We get a little calm stretch in the pattern until it picks back up again in February.
So we can't start singing "The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow" till this weekend. So
correct.
Yeah, we'll be ready for it. That's
yes,
for sure.
Yes, we will.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, coming up, how a Southeast Kansas pet hospital and shelter is recognizing National Change a Pet's Life Day. Today is National Change a Pet's Life Day. According to the ASPCA, approximately 6.3 million companion animals enter animal shelters every year. Parsons Pet Hospital is just one of the local shelters feeling the strain that comes with caring for a high volume of animals. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more.
Spike and Annie are a doggy duo that were just surrendered to the Parsons Pet Hospital. After the unfortunate passing of their owner, these two now have nowhere to go.
Had the two dogs that were relinquished. That's what breaks my heart. And I'm going to start crying right now. Yeah, so to say, you know, what's your favorite part about, you know, shelter, there just really isn't a favorite part. I don't think there should have to be a shelter for animals. They should all have homes.
In a perfect world, Shelley's wish would be a reality. Unfortunately for Annie and Spike, it could be a while before they get to go to a new home.
If it were a case of just a temporary issue with all of our animals, then it probably wouldn't be so heartbreaking. But, you know, we do have a lot of animals that have been here for months, and there are so many bigger dogs that unfortunately don't have a whole lot of chances. You know, people just aren't, everybody wants that cute little puppy.
Many of these animals may not be that perfect puppy or kitty, but all of them are ready to be loved by a family.
We just try to provide like a safe and loving environment where they can grow, enrich, try to find their personality so we can find them the perfect home.
Not everyone can adopt, but Shelley has a recommendation for that.
We could sure use some donations. We could use some volunteers, you know, come out and play with these animals. They don't get people playing with them, and we don't always have all that time. And you can sponsor an adoption. Maybe you can't adopt yourself, but you can sponsor an adoption and somebody else could potentially give a home.
Reporting in Parsons, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
For more information about pet adoptions, just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Up next, what a new survey shows about how people expect their significant other to, how much money they expect them to spend this Valentine's Day. Well, your Valentine's Day date might expect you to spend more bucks on them this year. A Trustpilot survey shows Americans expect their significant other to spend an average of $157.52 on gifts this Valentine's Day. 21% of respondents in relationships say they also feel obligated to spend more than they can afford for the holiday. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. What the remaining presidential candidates are focusing on after the New Hampshire primary. Plus, an Oklahoma Highway Patrol trooper escapes with his life after an SUV slams into a pulled-over vehicle.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Just 10 months remain until the 2024 presidential election. Today, one day after the New Hampshire primary, President Biden's campaign team officially pivoted its focus to the general election. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Huff has the latest from Washington.
President Biden ramping up his re-election campaign worked to win over the support of blue-collar workers Wednesday, delivering a keynote address at the annual United Auto Workers Convention in the nation's capital.
Look, I kept my commitment to be the most pro-union president ever. I'm proud you have my back. Let me just say I'm honored to have your back and you have mine. That's the deal.
The likelihood of a Biden-Trump general election increased Tuesday after former President Trump defeated former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley in the New Hampshire primary, earning a double-digit victory.
You know, we won New Hampshire
3 times now, 3.
A Fox News analysis revealed immigration was top of mind among voters, an issue the former president is campaigning on.
I like President Trump's chances.
Despite her loss, Haley is vowing to press on and launched a $4 million ad campaign in South Carolina, 1 month ahead of next month's primary.
A rematch no one wants.
And despite her roots in South Carolina as the state's 2-time governor, Trump leads in the polls. Yet Haley's team is vowing to continue beyond South Carolina's primary to March's Super Tuesday.
This race is far from over.
South Carolina will be the first primary in the country to have President Biden's name on the ballot. Still, he won in New Hampshire last night as a write-in candidate among Democrats. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Well, during today's UAW convention, the auto union announced it was formally endorsing President Biden in his re-election bid. Hawaii's governor wants to charge tourists for visiting the island. Hawaii continues to rebuild after last year's deadly wildfires in Maui. And as tourists trickle into parts of the island, Governor Josh Green is bringing back efforts to enact a climate impact fee. The governor's latest proposal would charge visitors $25 if they stay at a short-term rental or an island hotel. The fee focuses on reducing the state's reliance on fossil fuels.
We're trying to raise revenues, and we're also trying to curb the sheer number of people that travel to Hawaii. So when people say, maybe 1% fewer people will come because they hear there's a new fee, that's okay. I'd rather have longer stays where people really invest in a robust vacation.
And Green says the impact fee has the ability to produce more than $68 million per year, but he's also open to any other proposals. 3 people, including an Oklahoma Highway Patrol trooper, nearly lost their lives after a distracted driver crashed into a parked vehicle during a traffic stop. Now watch this. This happened on I-40 in Canadian County last week. Authorities say Trooper Jesse Gregory pulled over a vehicle and was handing the driver a warning when an SUV crashed into the pulled over vehicle, sending Trooper Gregory flying. Now the trooper and both drivers were taken to the hospital. Luckily, all injuries were non-life-threatening. The Highway Patrol is still investigating the cause of the crash. A bit later, trying to find answers.
A growing mystery in Missouri, where 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans were found dead outside a friend's house earlier this month. I'm CB Cotton with more on that story coming up.
Well, of course, we've been dealing with the rain, ice earlier this week, and then the dense fog over the past couple days. And tonight, again, we're going to see the very dense fog. It's gotten a little better downtown Joplin, but it will get worse. Later on tonight, a nice shot, Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Looking off toward the north and to the east, the wind's very light. When the winds pick up just a hair, the fog gets a little bit better, but you can see a lot of areas under a quarter of a mile. Through the metro, visibility is about 3.5 miles, which is better, but that's going to go down as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Just about everybody will be under a quarter of a mile by the time we head into the morning hours. So if you're going to be on the roads, be careful. Plus, we've had some drizzle. We're going to get some showers later. Dense fog advisory until noon for us tomorrow. We do have some light showers out across our western counties, but most of us are dry or just some drizzle. But we'll start to get some showers picking up down through central and eastern parts of Oklahoma later on tonight. So hit and miss showers over the next several hours, but showers are slowly increasing. Here's 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's go to about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Light scattered showers. They increase a little bit more in coverage by 7, 8 a.m. and then slowly advance off toward the north and to the east as we get into late morning. So I think most of this will be out of here by the afternoon. All right, rainfall amounts, not going to be much, but we are going to get a lot of areas on the Missouri side, 1/10, 2/10 of an inch, mainly under 1/10 on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. Temperatures, though, are upper 30s to lower 40s, so we don't have to worry about any ice as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Currently outside, sitting at 42. It's foggy across the region. This is a fairly weak wave, but this is our 4th round of rain that we've seen this week. Here's going to be our 5th round that is out across the Pacific Northwest. All right, by the noon hour, most of this rain is out of here. Then mostly cloudy skies, 48 to 50 for a high. A little bit of fog builds back in tomorrow night, which we're becoming accustomed to it as we go into Friday, into lower 50s, mostly cloudy skies. But watch the rain. It starts to advance in. So we're looking, it's 4:30 p.m. As we get into the evening, light showers start to increase and pick up an increase in coverage by 7 a.m. on Saturday. Now, Saturday's an interesting day. This is a strong upper level low that tracks just south of us, so we're in the calm ahead of the storm system. Now, if this storm system can intensify enough, we'll get what we call dynamic cooling, which cools the calm ahead down, which would allow us to switch over to some wet snow. So that's something we got to keep our eyes on over the next couple days. All right, 50 tomorrow, 56 Friday, cooler over the weekend, 42 dropping into the 30s on Saturday, 44 on Sunday, but sunshine returns most of the week next week.
Do my eyes deceive me, or are those 60s in
Yeah,
there?
those are two 60s on there.
60s.
Not bad.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Doug. Well, it's police versus fire with the Battle of the Badges in Pittsburgh. The two departments are competing in their annual chili cook-off with the American Red Cross. People donating blood today and tomorrow can try both types of chili and then vote for their favorite. Organizers say the event has brought in more than 100 signups for donations. The fire and police departments both say the competition is heating up.
So we've got a roaster full of chili from the fire department, a roaster full of chili from the police department. As everybody comes through, they give blood, they get a ballot, and they get a vote on which chili they think is best.
We brought it home the last couple of years. We razz each other back and forth on who's got the best, and it's just a lot of fun.
Curious to see who wins. The winner of the Battle of the Badges will receive the 2024 trophy once all the votes are counted. Well, the American Red Cross is reminding Americans to roll up their sleeves as the need for blood donations continues. The organization issued an emergency blood shortage earlier this month, and now they say the winter weather has stalled its ability to increase the blood supply. Storms across the country canceled blood drives. Now it's urging Americans who can safely donate to make an appointment on the Red Cross Blood Donor app. The nonprofit will need 8,000 blood donations each week for several weeks in order to replenish its supplies. Coming up in sports, Pittsburgh State basketball returns home to John Lance Arena. Plus, Missouri Southern is back in Joplin, trying to remain at first place in the MIAA. John Dales has highlights from that and more up next.
Missouri Southern women's basketball enters the night as the top team in the MIAA. Now with that comes a big target on your back. Tonight the Lions try to prove they're worthy of holding that #1 spot. Missouri Southern riding a 10-game winning streak, playing host to Northeastern State. Lions come out of the gates red hot. A couple minutes into the first quarter, Caitlin Honeycutt connects on a triple. That puts the Lions up 14-2. They're not done yet. A couple minutes later, Ryan Franklin hits an 18-footer. Southern leading 19-4. We'd hear a lot more from her. Still in the first, Honeycutt from 3 again. Lions up 22-6 at that point. Northeastern State comes back a little in the second. Here's Franklin again from a similar spot as before, right before halftime. And in halftime, the Lions go into the locker rooms with just a 5-point lead. Into the third quarter now, Lions rolling again. Franklin down low, gets the shot and the foul. Southern up by 14. Then Franklin to Brandy Hudson, back to Franklin. She finishes with a game-high 23 points. The Lions coast to an 11th consecutive victory, 72-44 over Northeastern State.
We did a great job of finding the man that's open. We didn't take very many tough shots. All of them were good looks, wide open, and it's nice to watch our kids play together, making that extra pass.
Second game of the night, Missouri Southern men's basketball facing Northeastern State. Early in the first half, Avery Taggart, nice crossover. That gets him to the rim for 2. Game tied at 4 at that point. Now 8 minutes in. Nice little backdoor cut here from Taggart, and the finish. Lions down by 3. Southern down by 6. still in the first half, and Winston Desasau with a step-back triple. That's pure. Lions within 3. But the Riverhawks just had the answer all night. Trey Quartelbaum finds Anthony Allen on the dive to the bucket for 2. Then Quartelbaum left open from 3. That's up and good. Lions down by 13. Lead cut to 11 before Quartelbaum again. You can see where this is going. In for 3. Lions trailed by 16 at halftime and could never come all the way back. Northeastern State wins it by 7. Meanwhile, in Pittsburgh, the Gorillas men's and women's basketball teams, each at home with a combined 5-game losing streak, hoping the Pitt State fans can help spur a turnaround. Pitt State women's basketball, at home, losers of 4 of their last 5, trying to turn things around against Rogers State. Early in the first half, Reese Pyle dive to the bucket. That'll help. Here's Pyle with a backdoor layup, up and good for 2. Gorillas jumping out to the lead and hanging on to it. Again, Pyle, scoop to the bucket, score it, and count the basket plus the foul. Rogers State hung around for a little bit of this one. That jumper up and good, still in the first half. But Pitt State, a team that had lost 3 in a row, 4 of its last 5, fell out of the top 25 this past week in the coaches poll. Get another bucket here late in the first half, and they end up running away with it. Gorillas win big, 82-48, the final score. And Pitt State men's hoops at home against Rogers State. Hillcats, Rodney Battle with a nice little fake and under. He gets himself up and in for a mid-range 2. Jordan Friesen trying to respond. He kicks it out to R.J. Forney Jr. He knocks down the 3 ball, keeping the follow through. Friesen with the distribution to Deshaun English. Finds himself all alone in the paint. Isaac Johnson, swarmed by Gorillas, fights his way through for a tough bucket on the other side. Then Friesen changing it up. A little bit of scoring to go along with the assists on the evening. Anthony Marshall Jr. dishes it inside on the other side. Caden Fry fumbles around with it, gathers though and scores for the Hillcats. Max Alexander on the other side, diving his way into the lane, all the way up to Tane Prichter with authority. But the Gorillas come up short again. Rogers State wins this one on the road by 9. Back to Missouri Southern. Women's basketball, though, that's 11 in a row for them now. It's crazy how much confidence this team is playing with. Hearing them talk about it, they say, hey, our practices are very intense, very tough. That's what's helped them get here.
And, you know, the Pitt State women, a lot of energy on the court there for sure for those ladies. Yeah, fun to watch. All right, we'll be back with more news after this. Missouri police are still trying to figure out what happened in the backyard of a Kansas City Chiefs fan, where 3 friends were found dead after getting together on the night of the Chiefs-Chargers game on January 7th. Fox News correspondent CB Cotton has the story.
It's just a cover-up. Something's wrong with the picture.
Anger and frustration from the families of Ricky Johnson, David Harrington, and Clayton McGeeney. Earlier this month, all 3 men were hanging out at their friend Jordan Willis's home for football Sunday. 2 days later, all 3 were found dead in Willis's backyard, with Willis claiming he never noticed something was wrong.
Man up. Now tell us what happened. He knows. He has to know.
Willis's attorney says his client saw his friends leave through the front door and then went to bed.
He slept most of the morning on Monday. He got up, and at some point he relocated to the bedroom. He got up on Tuesday morning. He works from home. He had no reason to go in the backyard.
The victims' families and a 5th friend who'd also been inside the house that night aren't buying it.
I'm furious. Everybody's furious. Nobody believes this story.
I personally think they got drugged and were drug out the back door and put in the backyard. I want to know exactly what happened.
While police have not made any arrests and don't suspect foul play, families also accuse Willis and his attorney of changing their story. Willis's attorney, however, says his client did nothing wrong.
These are his buddies. Had he seen those guys out there, he would have gotten them help immediately.
Willis has since moved out of the house. Victim autopsy reports and toxicology results are still pending. In New York, CB Cotton, Fox News.
Universal Pictures is developing a new Jurassic World movie. We've got the details coming up in Hollywood Nation. The Jurassic saga continues. A Golden Globe winner launches her music career and more. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with all of the latest in the Hollywood Nation.
Lohan's new holiday flick, Hudson's first single, and prehistoric monsters return in the Hollywood Nation. The dinos are heading back to the big screen. According to The Hollywood Reporter, a new Jurassic World film is in the works at Universal Pictures. The 7th film will launch a new era for the franchise with a storyline that will be separate from the sequel trilogy starring Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Steven Spielberg is on board as executive producer. Kate Hudson is ready to shine as a recording artist. The actor will release her first single, Talk About Love, January 30th. Hudson announced the news on Instagram, posting a video featuring a snippet of the song. Lindsay Lohan has another holiday movie coming to Netflix. She will star alongside Kristen Chenoweth in the rom-com Our Little Secret. The story centers on two exes forced to spend Christmas under the same roof after discovering their current partners are siblings. The project is the second of Lohan's two-picture deal with the streamer. She last starred in 2022's Falling for Christmas.
The world needs the Avatar.
Speaking of Netflix, the streaming giant released the first trailer to Avatar: The Last Airbender, a live-action adaptation of the beloved animated series. It follows a young hero and his friends fighting to save the world from the Fire Nation. The film debuts February 22nd.
The world needs you.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
I think my boys want to see that last one. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of the Cincinnati Zoo's beloved hippo, Fiona, showing off her melon chomping skills on her 7th birthday. Happy birthday, Fiona. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.